Hello, everyone. This is Raini, and you are here with Shikara Academy team. And today we will be discussing about the D-Day. That is on Sunday, 25th of May. And we will be discussing what should be the strategy and to simplify for all of you that what should be the minute steps which we all need to take before the exam, before the D-Day. Yes, and here we have the team. We have our own Deepika Reddy ma'am, and under her guidance we will be discussing the whole scenario because uh, she has given her exams way back to 10-20 years back. So how UPSC has changed from then and now, what challenges we aspirants are facing, okay, people who are giving the exam in 2025. We will be discussing everything today in details, and we have our academy team here. We have Dinesh sir, he is a geography faculty. We have Pratyush Tiwari sir. He is our history faculty. Then I am Raini Simon. I am teaching you current affairs and NCERT economy. Apart from that, we have Chaman sir for science and tech and for DNAs. You see him every day. So this is our team, and Deepika ma'am, not to forget at all. She is the face and she is the one guiding all of us for this UPSC and State PCS, Telangana State PCS, Andhra Pradesh State PCS examination. So let's get started. So first, I would like to ask our respected ma'am, Deepika Reddy ma'am, that ma'am, what are the do's and don'ts for the D-Day for 25th of May prelims?
Thank you, Raini. Basically, students who are appearing on this Sunday, I believe that the do's and don'ts don't start in the exam hall. The time before the exam, especially the night before the exam, is extremely crucial. So the most important do, according to me, is have a good night sleep, because when your mind is very well rested, it works very well. So the first step is have a good night's sleep. Don't think about the paper, don't think about the result, because these two are not in your control. The only thing that is in your control is your attempt, how you apply whatever you've studied for so long. And that will come to you. You can optimize that only when you have a good night's sleep. So according to me, begins with a good night's sleep, reaching the exam hall before time, because a lot of time what happens is, if you're late, that stress of being late for the exam, it actually affects your performance. So it is very important that you're in time. You go and fill in your OMR sheet very properly, because I still remember I had a student who was from IIT. He was an exceptionally good student, a dual degree holder. He would have
Yes.
made it in his attempt if he had not wronged the hall ticket number bubbling in his prelims.
Okay.
So that is a very costly mistake a student should not make, and that usually happens when you are in a hurry. So you should be careful about this. In the exam hall, it is important that you don't compare yourself with others, because बहुत सारी बार क्या होता है, students will not focus on what they are looking at. They first look at the faces around them to see whether how people are reacting to the paper. Such things should be avoided. So majorly these things, but as we discussed, we can continue with the other
Yes, yeah. Sure, ma'am.
numbers as well.
So if I remember my days, 3-4 years, 5 years back, when I was giving my attempt, I remember like I have not even slept for the whole night. The day before, I have not slept, and I was revising till 4 a.m. in the morning. I was revising art and culture, all the static. I was revising, and I was like, I am going to top this exam because I have revised everything from my notes. But just the opposite thing happened. I was very attentive in my first paper. I was very attentive in my paper one. But after 3 long hours of waiting for CSAT paper, I crashed in CSAT paper. So this you should not do, students. And yes, respected Deepika ma'am is right on this. You should sleep a day, night before your examination, and you should also eat in the morning. So heading towards our next question, when we should reach our examination hall, at what time we should reach? Tiwari sir, Pratyush Tiwari sir, can you give some insights on this?
Well, good evening, everybody. Well, that's a very important question what Rani ma'am has picked, because I personally know few of my students who have been barred from giving the examination, and I have been barred from giving the examination, because you must always adhere to what the notice and what in the admit card they give you instructions. There it is clearly written that you must reach 30 minutes before, and believe me, it is followed. I know my students who have not been allowed to give the exam, so it's very necessary that you reach at least 1 hour before, and you must have seen the center before. That's very important. And if by any chance, if it is very far away from your home and you have not been able to go there, then try reaching there at least 2 hours before, so that you can, if you're not getting the transportation or any which way, in any case you will reach there by at least 1 hour before. That's one thing. And secondly, just to add to that, while hurrying, don't forget to take the important things like your admit card and the identity proof that you have mentioned. Along with that, if you can get an analog watch is very important. Don't get a digital or smart watch, that's not allowed. And one thing more, why you should reach earlier, is because the baggage you are having, most of the centers they allow you to keep the baggage, but most of the times when you say that you have a smartphone or anything, they just say that it's not our responsibility, and it's clearly mentioned also in the admit card. So you have to search outside for that to keep your baggage and all. So that these are the few points which I think students
Okay.
should take care of.
Definitely, sir. And one of the golden point which you have said, that we have to see the center one day back before itself. I remember my time, the first attempt which I have given, I have not seen the center, and that I had to pay. Because in the second time, what I have done, I have pre-booked my auto. Like, I've talked to the auto wala and I was with my parents. So we have decided the time when we will leave our home so that we'll reach the center. And when it comes to Delhi, when it comes to North India, it's very hot right now there. It's where temperature is too high. So you cannot neglect all those things, the traffic. And on the D-Day, everyone near your place, near your center, will be searching for common vehicle. So you have to make sure that you reach the center at 8:30. Yes, at 8:30 a.m. students, you have to reach the center. The exam starts at 9:30. Make sure you reach at 8:30 with your watch, water bottle, your admit card, and the identification card. Okay. So heading towards our next question, I would like Dinesh sir to answer this. So when we reach the center, sir, before we take the paper, okay, before we get the paper, it's almost 30 minutes or 40 minutes before, if we are sitting on the seat, how to handle the anxiety at that time?
Yes, ma'am. Before the exam or before the start of the exam, we always have a last minute revision, which we think that's important. But never memorize those mnemonics and write it down the paper, because I have seen so many people, once they enter the exam, all the mnemonics, the codes, the fundamental rights, what they have studied, they take rough paper or in the hall ticket itself, they'll write and go. And once, if anyone have seen that, outrightly will be debarred. I've seen one of my friend who have done it and he has been debarred. So never make that mistake. Though you might be stressed, take a glass of water and come and sit early. Though it might be boring for the first no, that 1 hour, that will be much tense. Like the 1 hour of preparation before
Definitely.
giving that paper, that 1 hour you will be recollecting all the 1 year thing that you have done. So don't get tense. That is the time you will be get tensed. Though if I say that don't get tense, that's not possible. You will be, but never attempt to write anything on the paper, because at that 1 hour we'll just recollect. Okay, it's better to write it down, because for CSAT, when the person sits in the exam or any student sits in the exam, there will be so many codes like calendar mnemonics, or maybe seating arrangement mnemonics. Those
Yes.
things people often do write as a rough sheet.
Yes, sir.
So if you do that, you have to pay a very bigger price. It's better to lose half mark than to lose the complete exam. So take your time, sit, relax. Don't even for the second exam for exactly, because many of them gets eliminated though they have done better in the first exam, because they get tense. They'll be feed. They know, for example, like in North India particularly, because of the astrological heat and all, they get dried up, right? Now,
Definitely.
now before the exam, take it's instead of better roaming outside, you have to come to the exam hall before only, if possible, and stay there. Be hydrated, never touch, never write anything on your hall ticket, or maybe in the exam, before, don't even carry the morning paper. Some people often do carry, so don't do that. And it's better, stay calm, let things go on. You have time,
Definitely.
don't get tense.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for your insights. And yes, Dinesh sir is one of our esteemed faculty over here. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance. Yes, and from this point, I remember in my time, I was sitting half an hour before I was getting my paper, and at that time, I was like, I drank a lot of water before coming to the exam, and I felt like peeing, but I was so much stressed. I thought that I should not go to washroom and I just sit for 30 minutes. That was the biggest mistake I have done. And you should not do that. If you feel like going to washroom before the paper, that will be saving your 1 minute or 2 minute question paper. Okay, your one or two questions can be done. So try to do wind off all your these kind of pressure things before the examination, before you get the paper, and for straight for 2 hours, concentrate in your paper. Okay, this is one of the silly thing, but I wanted to discuss to all of you because it was my personal experience. Going ahead, Chaman sir, we will like to know your insights. Like once we start our paper, and if we open our paper and we see that starting 10 to 15 questions, 5 questions straight away, 5 questions or 10 questions, we don't know. And we get panic at that time. So, Chaman sir, can you give us some insights how to handle that situation of anxiety?
Okay, so I'll just answer this question retrospectively, just moving back. The questions you asked before, na, ki what in that 1 hour that what you should do.
Yes,
I'll give you some examples. Like the examination center opens at 8:30
yes,
and the exam starts at 9:30.
9:30.
So if on opening the gate you go and sit on your seat at 8:35 a.m. in the morning, so you have more than 40, 45, 50 minutes just to sit there and relax yourself. Trust me, it is of an immense importance and it is of immense help. It will calm your nerves. You will be acclimatized to the surroundings. You'll see what all is happening. And even if you are sweating in this summer heat, you will be calmed down. Yeah. 15, 20 minutes before commencing the exam, you should go to the washroom once and then sit on your seat. And then I think on 9:20, they'll hand it over the OMR sheet to you. Fill your particular details in a relaxed and calm way. Then at 9:30 sharp, open your question paper. So there are two types of approaches. Some students, they prefer, okay, let me start from question one. Others, like myself, I used to start from the last. So if you find that initially 5 to 10 questions, you are not able to properly grasp through, or sometimes it's like that your strong subject or one of your weaker subject is asked first or is asked last, and you face 5 to 10 questions of that. Yes, so suppose art and culture पे पहले 5 questions आ गए, ठीक है, and you don't know nothing about it. So what you do is simply flip the question paper, go to the last question. From 100, you start solving to 1. It so happens is that with momentum, you might recall. Once you are in a momentum, you have solved 5 to 8 to 10 questions. Then even if a difficult question arises, then you will be able to solve it easily. That's it.
Yes, sir. So that was a very vital point, and a lot of students are actually juggling with it. They don't know that if they start with difficult question which they are not familiar with, they should always flip the paper, start the question from 25th or 50th, or they can start it from end. This is a very good point you have told to all of us. And what about like once they start the paper and they have some issue with the invigilator? Okay, once I've had this issue that my actual sign was not matching with the sign which I have given them. So at what's that situation, what we should do? Because I have faced that situation. My sign was not matching and I was panicking at that situation.
Okay, so you're asking me that question. So I didn't had such experience, but when I was writing the main, the person sitting back to me, like, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
you're very much
Okay.
audible.
So
Yes.
the candidate who was sitting back of me, he lost his driving license that he should have brought.
Yes,
Okay.
identification. Yeah.
So yeah, on the essay paper day. So same thing can happen in prelims as well. So
Yes.
no hard and fast thing. So I salute that person. Like he was so calm. When the invigilator came, he said, "Okay, ma'am, let me do my paper. आपको जो formalities करनी है, all your formalities can be taken care of after
After
the
the
exam."
exam.
Yeah, after the exam, he wrote a written affidavit or undertaking something like that. Okay, and on that very attempt in 2020, that person got into IPS.
Oh my God, that is such a great news.
Yeah, yeah. His name is Udit
Calmness is
Puchkar,
the
by the
key.
way.
The calmness is the key
Yeah,
during the exam.
calmness is the key. You are an esteemed candidate. You will
Yes.
be allowed to write the paper.
Yes.
UPSC is a constitutional body, is a responsible body. After that, if your sign is not matching or if you have lost your ID, do not panic.
Yes.
Have some nerves of steel. It all the things can be taken care of after the exam.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I myself had no answer for that, but this is really a very good answer to it because people generally panic at that time. Now,
Yeah,
I would like to go back to our respected Deepika Reddy ma'am and would like to ask about the 3 hours, which there is a gap between the paper one and paper two, and how students should handle that situation. Should they rest for some time, or they should just revise their formulas for CSAT? What they should do, ma'am, please.
See, first thing is once you come out after writing the general studies paper,
Yes,
majority
ma'am.
of the students have this tendency of trying to understand whether the paper was easy, difficult, what
Yes,
was the
paper
cutoff.
one. Yes.
I would never ever ask them to even think about it because even for a minute, if you feel that your preparation, your performance was not good, and you may not make it in GS, then that is going to affect your CSAT paper. You should
Yes,
never
ma'am.
ever think about it. There is no guarantee that your thought that you did not do well will be true. Because in many cases where I've personally seen, student बाहर आके बोलता है बिल्कुल पेपर अच्छा नहीं गया. 100% his paper he'll clear. So it is too primitive to assess the paper and the cutoff at that point in time for anybody because we need to know how people have performed. There are a lot of factors. Relative performance hai. So you should never get into this thought at all. That should never come. Your thought should be simple. I have done my best in paper one. I am going to do my best in paper two. So, only clean, the more clean your mind is with respect to this, the better. The second important thing is please do not skip your lunch. It is very important that you eat something light because your खाली पेट में दिमाग ठीक से काम नहीं करता है.
Yes,
So,
yes,
and CSAT
definitely.
needs you to be active. You need to have something light. Ensure that you eat properly, hydrate yourself properly, and be
Definitely.
prepared for the second paper. The third thing is what will you revise in those 2-3 hours? I would
Yes,
say
ma'am.
rather than revising, cool yourself, remain calm. Don't get into a discussion on GS or CSAT with anybody. Just take your time to cool off. Go to CSAT because CSAT it is a practice paper. So I don't believe that those 2-3 hours will really help you in improving your performance. Rather cool yourself down. If you have a vehicle, a few of the students, if they have a vehicle, they take a quick nap, at least 15-20
Yes,
minutes of
ma'am.
nap because
Even
it
I have done in
refreshes
my
them.
time. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So that things like that would actually help them in performing in CSAT. That would be my take.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. Thank you for your insight, ma'am. And ma'am, what are the golden rules? Like at the end, what are the one or two lines you want to say that it cannot be missed at all by the students on D-Day on 25th of May, which cannot be
If
missed
you
at all.
ask me, the first rule is don't skip your food because I have come across so many students who do not eat out of the stress. They don't eat. So never ever skip your food. Second thing is never ever go step into the exam hall thinking how will the paper be? How am I going to do? How are others doing? Never bother about others. Your exam, focus on your own self. Don't look at the others around. It is as good as you alone are sitting in the exam hall and writing the exam. It is very important. These two things you should keep in mind.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Thank you, ma'am, so much. And at the end, I would ask Dinesh, sir, we have in our institution, we have a lot of students preparing for state PCS like Telangana state PCS and Andhra Pradesh state PCS. Students will be in a very panic mode. So can you comfort them? Can you tell them your insights, like how they have to cool down and what are the basics they have to touch, and then they have to go for the D-Day, 25th of May. For our students, sir, who are basically preparing for state PCS, but they all also go for and also give UPSC exam.
Sure, ma'am. So one thing is who are preparing for APPSC or TSPSC, everyone will write UPSC, of course, because 60 to 70% of the syllabus is same. But the paper that we get in APPSC and TSPSC, the option levels are quite less difficult when compared to UPSC. So you have to definitely check the answers or questions for exactly. We have to look at the keywords, not only incorrect, because that is where we go with the flow. For example, first answer we got it, second answer we got it. So third answer we know at least 2 options we can eliminate. Then we can directly go with the flow, because in state PSC's questions and options were not that difficult when compared to UPSC. We will be having that flow. So here you have to pass, we have to break in between. You have to check whether he's asking. Don't rush, because we have to read each and every question. We have 2 hours. You have 100 questions. Yes. So spend 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, but don't even spend more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes for first initial questions, because here difficulty of the questions increases. And if you come to CSAT, for example, you should not directly start with all comprehension ones, or maybe all math questions once, because I made this mistake once. I have solved majority of them, but I have left all the comprehensions for the last 1 hour. By the time I read one comprehension, it was already 20 minutes. So I have to solve more questions. Of course, no one can solve all 80 questions. But at last 15-20 minutes, we can't concentrate. As time is moving on, we can't concentrate on that what English paragraph or maybe one, because those things will not be there for state PSCs. Here we will be having that English comprehensions, more comprehensions, more difficult comprehensions. So we couldn't concentrate. We will try to skip that, and we will be losing 10 marks, 15 marks for one comprehension if they ask 4 to 5 questions. That's a very difficult price you have to pay. So balance between comprehension, say 4 questions of comprehension, or maybe 5 to 6 questions of maths and reasoning. You have to balance that. If not, it will be ruled out, though you have done better or say great in paper 1.
Yes, definitely, sir. So we all know that UPSC is a very risky game, and there are people who have given multiple attempts in UPSC. Year on year, they have prepared and they have given multiple attempts. So, ma'am, Deepika, ma'am, I want to ask this from you: how to bear with that pressure if somebody is having their last attempt, or they have given multiple attempts for prelims and they could not succeed. So, how to handle that pressure?
It's
Yes, ma'am.
true that, your previous failures really haunt you when you write an exam, because you have those memories. And unfortunately, we remember bad better than good. But
Yes.
having said this, we have to remember that every exam is different. Every year's exam is different. The paper pattern is different. The way questions are asked is different. So, firstly, I will not look at it as a continuation of my last year's performance. I would actually look, if I was a student, I would actually look at it as a fresh exam. I'm taking it afresh this year. Okay. And secondly, there is no hard and fast rule that you've failed once, you're going to fail again. There is no hard and fast rule. We have failed n number of times doing a lot of things, but we've finally succeeded. See, I recollect a student who's serving as an IPS officer today. She cleared the exam in her 6th attempt. Personally, also, she had a lot of issues. She was going through a lot of things on her personal front, but she
Yes.
never gave up. And when I asked her, she told me the same thing. I used to always tell them every exam is new. In the class, I used to tell them every exam is new. Approach it from a new perspective. Don't carry the baggage. See, your past failures generally also, the beauty about past is even God can't change it. The only thing that nobody can control, including God, is past. Past is important to us because we have to learn our lessons and move on. If you have
Definitely.
failed multiple times, I'm sure you must have sat, analyzed why you have failed, and you must have addressed that. Remember that whenever this thought that I might fail comes to your mind, counter it. Counter it with the effort that you've made to overcome that. You must have identified the reasons for it. You must have worked towards overcoming that. So recollect those attempts, those efforts that you put in to overcome that. That will actually give you the strength to move forward. It is very important that you do this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, this is a very big dilemma for people who have like made it in the last attempt and could not make it in the last attempt. So last but not the least, I would like to talk about the most important thing, which is OMR sheet. Yes, and I will like to get the answer from Chaman sir. Chaman sir, please give us insights like how to fill the OMR sheet and when. How many questions, after how many questions we should start filling the OMR sheet? Yes, sir.
Okay. So OMR sheet is the summary of your preparation. Like it doesn't matter whether you have prepared for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. That sheet only will reflect your chance of getting selection. So it is the most important aspect of this whole exam, I would say. So while filling OMR, one thing a student must do is like before the exam, he or she should give mock exam first, but now it's not the time. So in the early morning, what a person can do is like take a printout of any mock OMR and start filling the bubble, especially your roll number and the other. So this will calm your nerves and will improve your mind and hand coordination while filling the OMR. First point. Then when at 9:30 and at 9:20 you get the OMR sheet, fill your roll number in a very calm way. You have 10 minutes, take your ample time, cross check after every bubble that you have filled. Okay. And when answering the question, so there are three approaches a student can take, and I'll tell you the approach I would suggest the most. So one thing is that a student does a question solves a question in the question paper and fills the OMR then only. For every question, he or she is filling the OMR. Another approach can be in one particular page of question paper, you might find 4, 3 or 5 questions. So you solve those questions and then fill the OMR. So what happens in these things now is like when after every question you go and fill the OMR, it wastes 1 or 2 or 3 of your seconds. Trust me, it does. And 100 questions, 3 seconds per question wasted equals 5 minutes, and that are very crucial in the exam. The other approach can be the page-wise approach, or if you are very much confident that you have in 1 hour 15 minutes that you have gone through all the questions, then
Yes.
you can start filling the OMR, all the
Okay.
questions that you have solved till now. It will save you 3 to 4 minutes in that, and those 3 or 4 minutes can make or break your case in this
Yes,
examination.
definitely.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay, definitely, sir. So this was the golden insights by all our faculty and our respected, known, very well known Deepika Reddy ma'am. And yes, students, you have to sleep one day before. You have to keep your watch ready. You have to keep your pen ready. And you have to be very positive. You need to have a very positive attitude. And with this, our Shikara team will tell you best of luck. Yes, we all are here to tell you best of luck. And yes, whatever you're prepared for one whole year, you are going to make it. Yes, you are going to make it this time. Yes, you are going to make it this time. Just go with this positivity. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Anything last?
Last closing
Both
from my end, what I would say is don't bother about the result. What is more important is you give your 100% to whatever you do. If you really give your 100%, there is a greater probability that you'll get the result you've aspired for. So never think about the result. The focus should be on your performance. As you sow, so you reap, we say. So please
Definitely.
focus more on your performance. Keep your mind cool, because then you can remember those things also that you've read long time back. But if you're worried and if you're tensed, you'll make a mistake writing your name also. So just remember this. All the very best.
All the very best to all the students who are appearing this time, whether it is your first attempt or last attempt. You should have this courage to face the paper and rock it. Thank you.